There's one skill as an entrepreneur that's going to set you far above every one of your peers on a near exponential level and will replace your need to cultivate every other skill. And it's delegation. When you learn to delegate, you put yourself in the position of being good at literally anything that you need to be good at almost instantly. Because instead of trying to figure out how to get something done, the question becomes, and I'm stealing from Dan Sullivan, who, not how. When you ask yourself how, you're instantly taking all of the weight of whatever complex problem you're dealing with and you're holding it yourself. And there's only so much you're capable of. And as I get older, I get more comfortable with that concept. So if you're still a young entrepreneur, you may be repelled by what I just said, and you can turn this off and you'll come back here in a couple of months or a couple of years and you'll realize how right I am. Acknowledging your own limitations is just so critically important to being successful. Once you've acknowledged those limitations, the key is finding the people that help fill in the gaps, the people that are smarter, more capable, or to be frank, just have more time. But learning to delegate, it's the key. It's Arthur's sword. It's the Jedi's lightsaber. It's the most important tool in your tool belt. And what's interesting is most entrepreneurs hate to delegate, or they don't know how to do it. So I'm going to assume for the sake of this video that you actually have somebody effective to delegate to. With that assumption established, I want to talk to you about the delegation frameworks. The first and the most important one is the Black Box of Delegation. I call it the Black Box of Delegation because I want you to think of everything that you're delegating as a black box. What happens in the black box is none of your freaking business. The minute you start going into the box, that's the signal to yourself that you're doing work that isn't yours to do and you need to zoom all the way out. On the outside of the box are two poles. The first one is, here are all the resources available to you. This is everything that you can use, all the employees that are aligned with this mission, any money that I'm willing to spend, training, tools, vendors, content repositories, brand guidelines. Here's everything available to you, Mr. or Mrs. person that I'm delegating to. Here's all the things that I'm going to give you. This is where we start. That goes in the box. What comes out of the box is my desired end result. I want you to build whatever this thing is. I want you to create a new training program on the employee onboarding process that you just went through and make sure that it's complete to the degree that would allow another employee to walk through everything that we taught you hands-off and unassisted. That's the desired end result. What happens between those 2 points not only is not your business, but should offer literally zero intervention unless the employee comes to you with a question. That's the Black Box of Delegation. Here's all the resources available to you. Here's my desired end result. Now, for early stage employees, people that you haven't delegated to, or if you're just learning to delegate, the key here is to delegate smaller boxes, right? So maybe you don't delegate the entire training program. Maybe the black box in this instance is, hey, just build me the curriculum. You can always delegate smaller boxes, but what you want to get in the habit of doing is delegating end results. Delegate projects, not tasks. Because even with a phenomenal human being that's truly capable, the minute you start looking over their shoulder and you start, oh, the square should be a circle and red should be blue, they instantly take their hand off the wheel. Even if they don't realize they're doing it. Subconsciously, they think to themselves, well, you're driving now. And this is yours. You began to author this project. Authorship creates ownership. The more authors that are included, the more divested each becomes in the ownership of that project. You want whoever you're delegating to feel true autonomy and ownership. And in order to do that, they need to be allowed to author things. I take this so far as I actually won't correct employees on small mistakes that I know they've made or things that I don't necessarily like. I let them get all the way through to the end of the project, and then I'll come back and say, hey, you did a phenomenal job. This is the desired end result. Really well done. Really appreciate that. Why don't we tweak a couple of things? Because if they've been allowed to author the project through to fruition, you get way more positive output than you'll ever get negative output. And this is especially true if you get really good at what it is that you provide them from the beginning. Because you'll notice things like, oh, I don't like the fonts or the colors they're using. Well, great, you didn't give them a brand guideline. That's an easy thing to fix on the front end. I don't like the project management tool they used. Well, did you give them criteria to what you would want them to utilize from a software perspective? You get much, much better at offering them, hey, here's the context on the front end, and here's what I want on the back end. I'll give you a really specific example that was massively profitable to me. I joined Justin Donald's Lifestyle Investor Mastermind, and while I was in the mastermind, I listened to all of these unbelievably brilliant, very wealthy investors talk about the asset classes they were looking to invest in. 2 came up specifically: mobile home parks, self-storage facilities. I sent my then EA, now business partner, a voice message saying, hey, I want to build an online portal that allows me to solicit the sale of self-storage facilities from independent owners. Please make sure that there's a CRM, a pipeline, and create all the ads so that I can run ads to anybody searching to sell their facility. It was about 2.5 minutes, the voice message that I sent him. That was all the context. Here's everything that you have, and here's what I want, the desired output. It took him a weekend to do this work, and in the weekend I had the website, the CRM, the pipeline for the CRM, the follow-up, the communication, and all the ads. Me and my business partner ended up purchasing a self-storage facility for $490,000 that would retail for $750,000. I made $250,000 plus on less than 3 minutes of delegation. But I didn't sit there and obsess over the logo, obsess over the colors, obsess over the website, obsess over the content. I just let him run with it. Authorship creates ownership. That's another thing that you have to start asking yourself. How important is the garbage that you're getting yourself into when you dive into the weeds? Does it really matter? You know, when you really start to audit your employees' work, what's the point? Is this going to get the job done? Have we reached the desired end result? And are you now obsessing over, rearranging deck chairs on a boat that you're never even going to have to sail on? The other thing that I really like about the Black Box of Delegation is people don't just take ownership during the project, they actually assume ownership on an ongoing and recurring basis. And so if the project that you've assigned to somebody then needs to be built upon, expanded, or involve other employees, whoever it was that built it really feels a true sense of ownership. And so they start to contribute beyond what would be expected otherwise. And they feel a sense of ownership, by the way, because they own it. It's theirs. You gave it to them. So put people in a position to be autonomous, make decisions. You know, if they go left and you would have gone right, as long as it still accomplishes the goal, that shouldn't bother you. So begin to divest what certain things mean and disallow the idea that the work is somehow a reflection of you, because it's not. It's not. I have a business at the moment. I don't like the name of the business. I don't like the URL. I don't like the logo. And interestingly, the gentleman that made those decisions is smarter than me, better than me at all of those things, and was probably right in his decision making. I wouldn't have come up with any of the things that he came up with. But the business was instantly profitable right out of the gate. So does it matter that I don't like the name or the logo or the URL? No, obviously not. Obviously not. That's the other, I guess, the real key here is, how are we keeping score? Like, do you want to be right or do you want to be successful? Because if you want to be right, you can be right all damn day. But if you want to be successful, start taking your hands off of things. If you really want to learn how to delegate, delegate using the black box. Here are all the resources. Here's my desired end result. Go.